In this video, you're going to learn how you can use self-talk as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Now before we start the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're an athlete looking to improve your mental game. I put out new videos each day on sports psychology and mental training. Now self-talk refers to the way that you think and how you speak to yourself. And self-talk is so important to you as an athlete because the way that you think is going to directly impact the way that you feel. And the way that you feel, that's going to influence your behavior, and then it's ultimately going to influence your performance. So if you can really take control of your thoughts, that's going to work to positively impact your performance. So there are different ways that you can apply self-talk. And the first one is using some self-talk to increase your confidence. The way that you can use self-talk to increase your confidence is you want to come up with a list of all the negative beliefs you have about yourself. So maybe all the thoughts you have that work against your confidence. And then what you want to do is come up with a list of some positive alternatives. Some alternatives that would work to boost your confidence. And then all you have to do is repeat those statements to yourself every single day. And that is going to help you boost your confidence. That's going to help really ingrain these new thoughts into your mind and increase the way that you see yourself. But then also what you can do is as a game is starting or while you're performing, if you're feeling a little anxious, if you're starting to fear your performance a little bit, fear failure, or you feel like you're doubting yourself, you can begin repeating these positive self-talk statements that are going to be geared towards building your confidence. Now, it's very important with that one that you are repeating these self-talk statements to yourself on a consistent basis because you want to make sure that, number one, you're memorizing them, and number two, you're working to actually reprogram the way that you think, which is then going to increase your confidence moving forward. And the reason you want to have them memorized is because if you're starting a game and you are doubting yourself a little bit, how easy do you think it's going to be to remember these statements? Probably not very easy. But by having them memorized, it's going to be a lot easier for you to bring them into your mind. And it's the act of thinking these positive statements in that moment that is really going to directly boost your confidence in that moment. The next way you can use self-talk is to help yourself refocus. So let's say that you just made a mistake during a game. You're getting really frustrated and you're losing focus. What you can do in that moment is use some self-talk to tell yourself to let it go and let's focus on this next play. Your self-talk is just the way that you're thinking. And so whenever you're losing focus, if you can use your thoughts to redirect your focus, that's going to really help you keep from continually losing focus. And in that example, getting more and more frustrated about the mistake you made. To make this practice a little bit simpler for yourself, what you can do is come up with something known as a thought-stopping phrase. A thought-stopping phrase is a statement you repeat to yourself whenever you notice your attention beginning to drift, or you notice yourself beginning to lose focus, or you're getting upset. The thought-stopping phrase does exactly what it sounds like. It stops those thoughts, those negative thoughts, or those thoughts that are causing you to lose focus. It stops those thoughts, and then it gets you refocused. So a really good thought-stopping statement is stop, let it go, focus on the next play. So you tell yourself to stop worrying about it, let's let it go, and let's focus on this next play. Another way you can use self-talk is to help you with performing. This is a really cool one because it comes in kind of two different ways. Number one is going to be with training. So you can use self-talk when you're training to work on reminding yourself of certain cues or kind of pushing yourself along. But then what's really cool is if you identify this cue that you use during training. So let's say you're a baseball player and you tell yourself to keep your hands back or stay inside the ball. What you can do then during a performance is to remind yourself of that cue. And by reminding yourself of that cue, it's going to remind your body of how you want to actually perform. And so you can start using self-talk to remind yourself of certain mechanical cues and certain mindset cues that are going to increase your performances during games. Another way you can use self-talk is to increase your motivation. Let's say that you're dealing with a really grueling and tough practice or training session. Well, in that moment, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, oh, this sucks, this is awful, I don't know how I'm going to make it through? Or are you thinking, I've got this, come on, keep pushing, let's go? By thinking a little bit differently, you can actually increase your motivation. And I know that sometimes when we're talking about self-talk, it can seem corny, it can seem silly, but look at the alternative. Rather than saying, let's go, you could be saying this is awful. Is saying this is awful going to increase your motivation? Not at all. That's going to ruin your motivation. But by saying, come on, let's go, you've got this, that's going to increase your motivation, and ultimately that's going to make you a better player. And then the last way you can use self-talk is to help with anxiety. This is going to be very similar to the self-talk you used for confidence. What you want to do when you're dealing with anxiety is you want to make sure that you're getting into a more confident state. But what you also want to make sure of is that you are using your self-talk to help yourself relax. And so you can use self-talk in a very similar way. You want to come up with a list of the thoughts you typically have when you are feeling anxious. And then you want to come up with some positive alternatives. Once you've come up with your positive alternatives, just like with the self-talk for confidence, you want to repeat them to yourself on a daily basis. And that's going to help memorize them, and that's going to help ingrain a new thought pattern. But most importantly, you have to make sure that in the moment when you're feeling anxious, you apply that self-talk routine. You start remembering those self-talk phrases, and you really start having more positive, confident building, and calming thoughts. So those are the ways that you can use self-talk as an athlete. And self-talk is one of the most important mental skills that you can learn, because the way that you think, that's going to directly influence your performance on the field or court. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about one-on-one mental performance coaching, head over to successstartswithin.com.